You take care. Bye now. Right. So we've got some moored boats here, so I'm just going to go and tick over past these. Good afternoon. Nice little boat. Can I have one?
Oh yes, it's like maybe the big one.
They're not too dear, are they?
Nah, chaps don't let us bargain, this one was.
Lovely little thing, that. Love it. I'm leaving Sutton Wharf, and oddly enough, the boat that pulled in behind me, like we were all in a big rush to get to the service. Well, I was, he wasn't. He was just cruising. I was like flat out. I was like Scotty on the Starship Enterprise. She can't take it, Captain. But except that I would be talking to myself as the captain of the vessel, of course. But you know, that wouldn't be a first. Where we are, Sutton Wharf on the Ashby Canal, is close to the site of the ancient Battle of Bosworth, where Henry VII beat Richard III. Oh, I'm pushing it a bit now, going from memory. Oh, should have read up on this before I started running my mouth off. Anyway, they're not pulling off yet, so I've got a bit of a lead on them. But anyway, back to the history lesson. The site of the Battle of Bosworth is thought to be sort of here. They've built a visitor centre there, and I visited it again like a decade ago when I came down the canal with my ex, but I'd like to visit it again. It's about a 10-minute walk from the cut, apparently. But it's all about picking the right mooring spot, which is close to the footpath that takes you to the battlefield site. So we'll see what's there, really. And I cannot believe the day we're having. Just, where did this come from? Anywho, so I'm just going to do a tiny little hop. I was going to, right? There's several ways you can approach this visitor centre. It's on the left. That's the right, isn't it? It's on that side somewhere. But I don't know exactly where. Like, the map will tell me where, but I don't know where the moorings are in relation to it. I know we go over a viaduct, an aqueduct. We go over an aqueduct, which the guy behind me said was very impressive. I can't remember any aqueduct, but it, you know, obviously it was 10 years ago, my visit, so it was a lovely trip, I can say that. It was a lovely trip, but after that trip, my ex-partner went off the idea of buying a boat. Before then, she was all for it. It's that, and that's why I say, a few times you'll have heard me said, if you're thinking about getting into the boating lifestyle, you know, don't rush it. Hire a boat first. Make sure that you can live this reality without it getting on your nerves, without there being too many compromises, like the reduced water usage. That's a big issue for lots of people. The confined space, all these things that I've mentioned a few times. They're all things that, you know, affect you to different people to different levels. So try it out, and try it out for a good week as well. My ex went off the idea after about 3 days, 4 days, whatever it was. Maybe was it 5? Anyway, she went off the idea. So it was, from her point of view, it was a good idea that we tried it. I didn't go off it. It was a bit of a rude awakening because the boat was only 35 feet long. So there are even more compromises than you would do on a 50-foot boat or a 57-foot boat. And there were 2 people on it. So, yeah, she went off the idea, and I think many people do. So it doesn't matter how much you think you would like this lifestyle. Try it. Don't buy a boat. Do not do it. Do not assume that it's going to be wonderful and magical and everything else, because it isn't. You know, it just isn't. And there's loads of vloggers, I think, who sort of make a living essentially out of selling this dream. with all the sunsets, and they do seem to have a lot of drama. Mind you, I have a fair bit of drama, don't I? Let's be honest. So yeah. But anyway, look, I'm not here to slag down vloggers or anything. What I'm saying is, don't buy the dream. Try it yourself. Try it yourself, because it might not be at all like what you think. Now, I think in that 35-foot boat, the sleeping arrangements were brutal. I'm not going to exaggerate. No, they were brutal. They were absolutely brutal. Like the lounge converted to a bedroom. That's what you have to do in a 35-foot boat. It's not long enough to have a separate bedroom, really. By the time you've got a toilet room, you know, a bathroom, a kitchen and a lounge, 30 foot, that's it. Because don't forget, 6 or 7 foot of it will be the stern. So, and the bow, which you can't live in. So internal space. Anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, so the lounge there converted to a bed. What happened was, the bed was on one side, as they are. My bed is on this side of the boat, and there's a passageway. So the bed on the high boat was at the front on that side. But when we both got into the bed, it tilted the boat over. So the boat spent the entire night at an angle of sort of 15, 20 degrees. I don't know what it was. But I was on the outside nearest the wall, and my ex-partner sort of was against me. So I was against this cold, chilly wall. It was chilly because it was mid-September, I think. And for the entire night, I had most of her weight just resting against me. Which just did nothing for my sleep, you know, I can tell you that. But she didn't enjoy it either, and she just went, right, no, you know, it's not for me. And you've got to respect when someone says that. Okay guys, listen, got to pay attention, because I've just seen some moorings, well, Armco anyway. There's some Armco here on the left, on the towpath side. So, and I know it's a tiny, we're on 50, what percent are we on? 56%. That seems pathetic. But I'm going to be stopping momentarily. That's good Armco, that is good, yeah. That is good, that's a cracking little spot there. But I can't see any route to the battlefield site, and I can't, more importantly, I can't see this aqueduct, this much spoken of aqueduct. I'm doing 1200, so let's turn that down. The thing is, right, I could always tow the boat back here if I don't see anything, you know, my old tactic, tow the boat. I could do that, but I'm not liking it that much, because it looks like we're a fair way from the visitor centre. So where? Right, okay, so these are moorings. Right, okay, these are the moorings these are the moorings I'm looking for. This is it, guys. Now there are more after the aqueduct, but there's supposed to have been a path. Right, the path is at the aqueduct. Okay, I'm going to go. The other thing, I'm not going to stop there, right? A, because the path to get to the Battlefield Visitor Centre looks like it's a fair way further on. The aqueduct is further on, and there are more moorings indicated on the map. So let's go past the aqueduct and see what we've got. Ultimate fallback scenario, just come back here, because these are lovely. One slight negative factor, you are on your own. No other boats moored here. So, where's this aqueduct? Right, here's some moorings here. Okay. Right, there's a boat. So in theory I could stop without being axe murdered. Have a little bit of company. These bushes look a bit stiff. There's a boat I can see moored ahead at the start of some Armco, but it looks like high trees. This looks better. This does look better. There's the Yeah. Do you know what, guys? Let's do this. There's the path that leads to the battlefield site. So I'm close by. There's some moorings further on, under that bridge. Should I press on and see what they're like? Let's press on. I do like that. I like that because it's open, you see, loads of solar. Nice big open field. There's a boat in front of me, so I've got a little bit of company. If the moorings ahead are full, where do I go then? I haven't even considered that. Right, there's more moorings after another bridge, which is about half a mile further on from those. Yeah, let's go a little bit further. Let's go a little bit further. Right, okay. But that bridge up ahead, I don't know if the camera will show it, the front camera. That is where the footpath goes to the visitor centre. So I've got Armco here just before the bridge, but I've also got high trees on both sides, so I'm not gonna use it. I don't think. I'll press on. I like the spot, and in high summer I would go for it all day long. That looks lovely. But in winter, in October, I just need that solar, and there's a cost implication as well. Yeah. So I hope I don't regret giving up that, passing that spot by. So in theory, right, there was more Armco. Are we there? Yes. Right, we're almost on top of the Armco. And if I don't take that, I'm basically going to Shenton itself. I'm not seeing any Armco. I'm not seeing any easy mooring opportunities, but I'm supposed to be almost on top of them now, so it won't be long. I found the missing Armco. It's sort of all overgrown. It's there and I could use it, but I'd have to sort of dig through all the foliage to get to it. This is not a commonly used spot here. This is not a commonly used spot, I can tell you now. And there's massive bushes on the right, so even if I was to stop it, this is open, but if I was to stop, the massive bushes sticking out on the right might make it difficult to pass. Also, I'm on my own, and I don't fancy it. I mean, I know that is just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous, you know, to be concerned about mooring on your own. Really, come on. But I would rather have a boat in sight. Don't have to be on top of them, just, you know, somewhere within earshot. The phrase I use is within screaming distance, for obvious reasons. Right. They're dying out, aren't they? But you know, guys, it only takes one zombie horsefly living on. I do take some. I don't know what that was, right? I don't know what that was. I don't want anything to do with it. I think it might have been a horsefly. And do you know what it did as well? Oh, guys, just monstrous things. It went past me and it sort of lurked in the air behind me. and the sun's up there as well, so it's coming out of the sun like a German, what were they called, ME-109, coming at me out of the sun. Perhaps a teeny bit more. Mind you, I'm pulling over soon, so I've gone a little bit further than I thought I was going to, but you know, that's what you've got the option of doing. Look at that. The Battlefield Visitor Centre somewhere in those woods up on a hill. It's a low hill, not a proper hill. But there was more recent research, I believe. Some modern historians have questioned whether the site of the battlefield of Bosworth battlefield site, whether that was where they thought it was, where the visitor centre's been built. I think their understanding of it changes over the years. It evolves, they get more info and better techniques, don't they? My map is getting out of date. Maybe it's time to get a new map. 80 quid though. It works perfectly most of the time. Trouble is, my map is now 4 years old, and I've found twice that I've got to facilities points and they haven't had all the things I want. Either the L-sand's been removed or the rubbish, it tends to be the rubbish bins have been taken away. So now I've got 3 bags of rubbish in the cratch there that I was hoping to get rid of, and I've now got to hang on till I get right to the end of the canal. Now I can see Armco, but I'm not stopping there because that is on a bend, or just after a bend. I could, is bridge 35? Yeah, that's a road bridge. That is a road bridge, goes straight into Shenton, and it goes to the battlefield site. Do you know what, guys? Maybe I am stopping here. Maybe this is the place for me. I don't like the trees. Is it a bit better further on? So what I've done, I've gone up on a silt bank. There's large bushes now swinging over the boat, so you lot can sod off, but also the boat's tilted to one side because of that silt bank. So entirely self-inflicted. I just don't know about that spot. I just don't know. This looks better up ahead. There's a long stretch of Armco up ahead, and I think that's the spot for me. There's no boats around, so there's nothing here apart from the battlefield site. It's just farms and things. So I either stop on this bend, or I carry on and go round the corner and stop close to the aqueduct. I will press on to the moorings that are around the next bend. That's my sort of last throw of the dice. Looks a great spot. Does look a good spot, although the presence of that silt bank, maybe that's why there was no bugger moored there. So I'm going to go round this next bend. It curves round to the left, and there's some more Armco there, and I think that's where I'll stop, just short of Shenton Aqueduct. Now suddenly they're out of sight, the couple who were behind me. See, I have been dawdling terribly, sort of 1.5 to 2 miles an hour, just bimbling along. You wouldn't normally get away with that. In the summer you wouldn't get away with it because there'd be so much boat traffic, and a number of them would be doing 3 or 4 miles an hour. So there'd be a line of boats behind me wanting to get past. But in the winter you can sort of get away with it. By the time they catch me up, I think I'll have pulled over. Unfortunately, there is a bit of a downside with trying to moor when you're being followed, because you've got to get your boat still, pull it in, get it pulled over and hang on for dear life, because the following boat will go past and it will suck your boat out. Well, you've seen it happen, and it can be a real struggle holding your boat in single-handed, depending on how fast they pass you by. So let's hope we don't get that. But the onus will be on me to get myself in sharpish and hang on to the boat before these guys reach me and go past. The towpath looks good, so to get to the battlefield site I've got to ride back down here. It's going to be a ride from here, I think, but that's okay. The towpath looks good to reach it. Okay guys, this is going to be my spot and I'm just going to check it out. Right, so I don't know what we've got really, but this is the mooring spot. I'm coming up to the mooring spot, but it's all overgrown by trees. I don't want to say. Do you know what, right? I might change my plan here. I can check the battlefield site out on my return journey, so that's not a problem. Oh, these are rings. Hello. Maybe I will stop. The trouble is, right, when you stop and you've got no solar, which are effectively no solar here, when you stop in a place like this, your problem is, you know, you're going to have to run the engine, and I just don't like doing. I don't mind doing it in December, November, you know. You got to do what you got to do, but it seems a shame in October in bright sunny weather to be, and there's no rings here either, you know, to be running the engine when the sun's out. I mean, just look for an open spot. Anyway, there's no rings. It looked like it was all lovely. Anyway, we'll see what's up ahead. We're up on an embankment, by the way. I've only just noticed. Down there, through the trees, there's a slope down there. I would say at least 30 or 40 feet. Oh, there are rings, are there? I keep thinking I can see rings, but I can't. So how's he moored then, the guy in front? These are the moorings. This is them. This is definitely them. But if it's pins, I'm not going to bother. I'll just carry on until I get some arm coat. It's just not worth the hassle. Pins are just not worth it, unless you have to, you know. It's designated mooring, and I just assumed it meant there would be arm coat. And by the way, this is Shenton Aqueduct, so I'm going to try and give you some idea of what it looks like. The guy I spoke to really went on about it, like, oh, it's a great site and it's big and it's this. I'm afraid that's not really true. I mean, it's substantial. Christ, anything that carries a canal over a road, substantial bloody work. I'm not belittling it, don't get me wrong, guys. It was just that the guy made out it was like the Pontcysylli or whatever it's called. He made it sound like this big huge thing. Right, so more mooring on the left. If we've got Armco, I'll stop here. There's a boat there. I can see one boat. Let's see what else there is. I don't want this to like turn into an actual cruise. This is just meant to be a short hop. No, there's no Armco. It's designated mooring. Designated mooring spot on my map anyway. No Armco. Is it hidden under the... It is. Sort of Armco, it's not really. It's got a steel corrugated thing but a wooden plank to wrap your mooring chains around. Anyway, I'm not doing that, so I'm going to press on again. And this is, unfortunately, when you pass up a nice mooring, you do run the risk of ending up in a worse one further on. But I'm too far to go back now. Okay, so boat behind me. So it's turned into another pursuit, unfortunately, but it's a pursuit that I'm not really concerned about the way I was. Okay, so the next mooring spot, right, I don't know whether that'll show right on the map. The M is not a capital M, and this is me being a dork basically. When it's a capital M, it usually means Armco or Rings. Rings is dark green. Anyway, God, why? You don't even want to know this. I'm doing this again. Talking about absolute trivia. But I need you to understand. I need you to understand my travails. Travails? Travails sounds right, doesn't it? Okay, so there's another mooring point. Oh, don't tell me this. Guys, it looks like I've had it. Looks like I've had it for mooring. Oh, that's a blow. I'm looking. It's all lowercase m's on the map. And that means it's all this kind of unusual Armco, where it doesn't have a wooden, a steel thing, it has a wooden beam. So it's mooring chains. But that's okay, I'm okay with mooring chains. I was hoping to find a couple of boats, though. Like this really is, seriously. I mean, I've said about being in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing. There's not a farm in sight. There's not a building. I can't see for sure what's behind that hedge. There's nothing over there for a mile or more. But there is this Armco-like stuff that I could put, and it's open. Narrow channel, look, it is a narrow channel. I'm going to carry on. I feel like I've sort of had it now. I've blown it for the battlefield site, and now what we've got is just more of this sort of black Armco. So I think the best thing I can do is carry on, just look for a likely spot in the open. I just need a boat to be there. I don't want to be on my own. I don't want to be on my own. Just in case, you know. I know it's 1,000,000 to 1 that there would be any axe wielding personages knocking around the place. But I'm not used to it. It's just unnerving. I'm such a wuss. I can't believe I'm actually confessing to this rank cowardice, like on YouTube. What am I thinking of? Anyways, the bridge up there. Market Bosworth is 1.19 with a big loop. Market Bosworth is probably 2 miles, so maybe 40 minutes. Like, I thought when I first got this boat, I thought I'd spend sort of 90% of my time when I was moored up. I thought most of that time would be spent. I'm just looking at the bridge hole ahead. Most of my time would be spent in these sorts of places. That's where I'd aim for. But I found that I gravitate more towards the towns and villages, within reason. So yeah, the reality of mooring your boat effectively in the middle of nowhere, out of earshot of anyone, you know, a mile away from the nearest human being, or more. It's not as attractive as I imagined. So I'm going to press on. I hope I'm not disappointing my pursuers with my lack of vigour and speed. But it's turned into a cruise, unfortunately. It was only meant to be a bloody hop. The annoying thing about being pursued is I feel a responsibility to keep a half decent speed up. Whereas if I wasn't being followed, I'd just be doing 1200 RPM. I'm actually doing 14. Perhaps you can see on the left hand side, it's just as rural as it is on the right. I don't even see a farmhouse over there. I'm not even seeing a farmhouse closer than 1.5 miles, 2 miles. So, yeah, I'm not inclined to stop here, guys. Not really. I do need to sort of overcome my phobia though, before it actually turned. I mean, it's a bit of a joke phobia, it's not a real phobia. But I ought to overcome it by spending some time in a quiet mooring spot on my own. Like, that's definitely what I should do. So while we've got sun, I want a nice open aspect mooring. I want to enjoy the light while we've got it. So this is one of those where the moorers have got their own little bit of land beside the canal, which is absolutely fantastic. That situation where you can set up benches, a gazebo perhaps. You know, this guy here, he's got a little garden. Here is somebody selling handmade walking sticks, which is this little boat here, I think. Another little boat tucked away here with its own little garden and land. Look, he's got a camper van, he's got some kind of gazebo shed thing. Brilliant. I could have gone there. Was it them? We are doing 3 miles an hour and it is less than a mile. I'll just carry on unless I see something really nice and open with a couple of boats around, at least one that doesn't look like an axe murderer themselves. Unless I see that, I'll just carry on towards Shenton and hope there's a moor in there, because of course the other thing to consider is that, and especially in winter, the moorings near to towns and villages do seem to be busier, not as easy to find. And what I'm not going to do is turn this into a 5-hour cruise and go like another 5 miles past Shenton. I'm definitely not doing that. So, with some buildings over there, and with the land opening up, the trees opening up a bit, it's starting to look a little bit more positive here. And I've got some Armco. There's nothing in Shenton that I'm looking for. This is the thing, I don't need anything there. This looks like a couple, so that's nice. It always feels safer when there's a couple knocking about, because you know they're not going to be too daft. You know, they're not going to be too off the wall, are they? Like the women sort of moderate the behaviour of the crazy blokes. So let's make sure. So these guys do like a little bit of solitude, clearly. Because look at where they're moored. There you go. Good afternoon. You've got a nice day to be sat out, guys. Make the most of it. Also, what they've done is moored in the middle of a stretch of Armco there. Like if they'd moved to the end, another boat could have squeezed in. But that can't happen. Anyway, why am I doing tick over? Let's go. I'm past them now. I wonder if they thought I was a little bit fast, because they weren't. Normally the boaters are sort of quite smiley and all that, warm greetings. They didn't. I don't know, I think some of them are never happy really. I got shouted at Braunston not long after I bought the boat. I was going through Braunston and just it seemed like there was like 5 mile line of moored boats, and on both sides as well. Nightmare. You could just about squeeze past boats, you know, coming different past these moored boats, but it was a hairy business, and it was really blowy, and I was going I was at tick over. I was going slow, less than 2 miles an hour, but it wasn't good enough. Some old woman came to her window and started waving at me. This kind of slow down thing. She said it and indicated it. I've just bashed my nail on the tiller. I'm gonna have to cut that. My nail's taken absolute beating. You wouldn't believe it. I know is it heresy for a bloke? Something's tickling the side of my face. Heresy for a bloke to say that, but honestly, they just take an absolute beating. I've just banged it against the tiller and it's cracked it down to the red bit. Cut to the quick, is that the expression? The quick is the red bit, isn't it? It must be. This would have done. I've got that mooring paralysis syndrome. I don't mind the on your own thing because there's a farmhouse up here, so there are human beings within earshot, so that's sort of, you know, any anxiety about isolation isn't an issue here. But I just don't know, I've got that thing. Sometimes you get into that mindset where you're like, oh no, I'll just try the next one. Maybe the next one will be a little bit better. I'll just try the next one. And to be fair, that spot that I've just passed, whoa, while I was messing with the camera, I almost, well, I've just actually scraped it. Almost scraped the bank. Too much time messing with this. You can see now I'm not mooring here, and I'm also hoping that I don't meet any boats coming the other way. I wonder if the guys behind me stopped. I wonder if they stopped. So Shenton, guys, it still says 0.5 miles away. How can it still be 0.5 miles away? It's been 0.5 miles away for about half an hour. I know these things are slow. That doesn't seem right. Do you know, it's funny, like with that sun high in the sky there, but well, high-ish, you could almost swear this was a summer's day. It hasn't got that same power. it's warming me, but it's not quite got the same pattern. But just the brightness and the light, you could almost think it was a summer's day, but there's something that I can't put my finger on. There's a coolness in the breeze that you don't feel in July and June. There's a coolness in that breeze. Maybe it's the colours are different, turning towards autumn. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but it's too subtle for me to consciously grasp. But I can feel that it's not summer anymore. We're not in summer anymore. Do you know, I feel like I've probably gone past the farm shop as well. Just as well though, to be fair, because I still haven't touched like the shopping from Sainsbury's back in Hinckley. I've barely touched that, and I can't just like throw it away. So it's just as well really. If I was let loose in another farm shop, I'd come away with another week's worth of food and end up throwing out what I've got. So I've got to eat the boring, horrible supermarket food now. The boring Sainsbury's food instead of these delicious, locally sourced pies and things. But I will return. I will be back. And I will, oh my God, I will have my wicked way with at least one of those giant pies. I had one yesterday, just beautiful. They're a bit dearer, but they're so worth it. Downside is, now I'm stopping at a normal time. Normally I stop earlier in the day, and so there's loads of spaces. I'm normally stopped by 1 PM, 2 PM. Now it's 3. So I'm getting to the point where everyone stops, or you know, apart from the hire boats. But we are now 0.25 miles from Market Bosworth, which is not much bigger than Stoke Golding, I think. It's still a village, but it's a bit of a larger village, and there's like a few shops and things. So yeah, and I'll be less isolated. Anyway, there's loads of isolated spots on this canal. If you want to see me terrified and be in a nervous, quivering wreck all evening, I'll stop in that isolated spot on the return journey for a laugh. Not a laugh for me, but a laugh for you. Yeah. It reaches that point as you approach a bridge where you know, even if a boat shows up, you're going through, you've got right away, as it were. Unless they do something really silly, like they're travelling dead fast and they appear to just go straight through and try and intimidate their way through. Now and again you'll get, not very often, that's not a common thing. Most boaters are not like that. So let's see. I could go past. Okay, so Market, yeah, we are. Market Bosworth, 0.15 miles to the mooring spots. And then there's mooring spots afterwards at about 0.4 miles. So I might as well, I'll slow down because I need to be ready to pounce if I see a spot. And also, I've got these. So, yeah, it's a building site. So this is Market Bosworth now, then they're obviously building a new estate here on the edge of town. So my hope here now is that the Armco moorings, which surely lie ahead, will have a space. Yeah, I can see the houses going up on through the trees. Up ahead, I can see the start of a line of boats, as I expected to see. So, yeah. Some Armco, there's 2 boats and then there's some Armco. So let's see if there's enough for me to squeeze in. It is heavily overlooked by trees, but I'm sort of fed up now. I just want to stop. Yeah, it looks like there's a space. There's 3 boats. It is Armco, and there might just be space for me in front. Yeah. Oh no, there's bollards. Why are there bollards? Is there enough room for me before the bollards? No, there isn't. Damn and blast. Can't stop. Right, let's see what it says. It says mooring for water point only. Okay, can't do it. The bollards indicate mooring for the water point, so I can't do that. I couldn't see the tap, but now I can. Yeah, they're just slightly unusual small constructions. So okay guys, got to go past the bridge, and let's hope that we've got something past the bridge, because otherwise I'm going to end up with some kind of a moor. I've got no idea what I'm going to end up with. There's space for a single boat just on this little stretch next to the marina, and that space is taken. Then you've got Bosworth Marina itself. And now we've got a line of boats. Well, this is most unfortunate. Now we've got a line of bloody moored boats. Okay, well, it's just fingers crossed. On the other side, the town of Market Bosworth. A lot of it looks like new houses, doesn't it? So what we've got now on the left hand side is permit holders only from Bosworth Marina, so I'm not parking there. So I think guys, now I'm just going to look for any kind of a, hopefully Armco, but anything I can stop, anywhere I can stop. Yeah, it's still permit holders only. So what about this bit? Yeah, no. Right, here we go guys, we're in. Oh yeah. Right. So it's kind of Armco with this, where you can put a mooring chain down through it, but it's a wooden beam instead of a steel one. Right, let's tie on 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and then just wrap. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that's that done.